and welcome to the next episode of Aligned Heart. It is my great honor and privilege to be here with all of you, and I'm just so thrilled to be sharing some of these gifts, the learning that I've received over the last several years, in hopes that it will somehow touch a part of you that you'll feel connected to yourself, maybe in a different way, that you'll feel connected to your purpose, to God, to be able to listen more deeply with more compassion and understanding to all the parts of yourself, and that ultimately you will come home to yourself, come home to that wisdom and the answers that are found within. And that is the purpose and my heart in bringing this podcast, Aligned Heart, to all of you. And so as I was thinking about where to begin on this journey, it only felt appropriate that I would begin with where I begin with all of my clients. I take my clients through a process of called Awake, Aware, Align. And it's a really beautiful, powerful process of becoming, because that's what we're really here. If you're here listening to this podcast, it's because you know that you have a potential inside of you. There is a purpose, there is a meaning and gifts that you are meant to share with this world. And that could be in the walls of your own home, or it could be out in the community. It really is so personal and so individualized that there's no one right way to show up as who you're designed to be. But ultimately, it's just about being in integrity with yourself. It's about wanting to show up as the best version of yourself. And that is important to you in your parenting, in the way that you bring purpose and meaning to the work you bring to the world, in your relationship with your spouse. It impacts every area of your life, and showing up as the very best version of yourself is showing up awake and aligned with the truth of how God sees you, your divine nature. They're interconnected. Um, and so one of the things that the first place that I always begin with my clients is bringing them back home to themselves. We are really good at recognizing all the things that we are not. We're really well versed and very confident in all the places we're not showing up as our best self. And what I have found is that when I ask my clients what they want, who they desire to be, that feels a little shaky. It's really unsure. They don't have a clear picture of that. And what they do have a clear picture of is all the places they're falling short, all the ways that they're not measuring up, all the ways that they haven't met the standard that they're holding for themselves. And that can be a really uh, painful place to be. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, that place of just being in that discontent. And when you awake to the truth of who you are, you have a direction to head. You can't head in, you can't hit a target that you can't see. You can't head in the direction that isn't clearly defined. If I'm wanting to go to St. Louis, I need to know where St. Louis is on the map. I need to understand what it looks like and what it feels like and the direction that it takes to get to St. Louis. Otherwise, it's going to take a really long time to get to St. Louis. I'm going to be circling the map, trying to find the place that feels maybe like it could be St. Louis, but I'm not really sure. So the very first place that we begin in all of the work that I do is really getting a clear picture and awakening to the truth of who you are. And that is found within. We have this misconception that I need to find my purpose. I need to go discover myself out there, somebody else. If I just check off the boxes, then I'm worthy, then I'm enough, then I'll find my purpose. If I just go out and do enough work, then I'll be able to feel my purpose or feel fulfilled. And what I have come to discover is that the truth of who we are is found within our heart. It's found deep within. I like to think of it as a diamond. We have this beautiful, precious diamond that is beyond worth. And that diamond is covered up with a whole bunch of dirt. And so often what we try to do to make that diamond that we sense is there. Like we recognize that there is a diamond there, but what we try to do is we try to cover it up with paint. We try to put glitter on it. We try to beautify this dirty diamond um, that we know inherently, intuitively is there, but we just can't quite access it. What is the truth is that when we start to wipe away the dirt instead of trying to cover it up with glitter and paint, we start to uncover the truth of who we are. We start to find the diamond that is within, that's always been there, the inherent worth that has always been there. It's just been covered up. So when I take my clients through the process of uncovering this truth of who they are, really stepping into this essence, the very best version of themselves, all that they are instead of all that they are not, it awakens something inside of them. One of my clients described it as coming home to herself. It was landing in a safe place and trusting that there was this part of her that had always been there. And she was not finding it or searching it or going out and exploring for it. She was simply remembering it. And as she was able to remember the truth of who she was and shine the light on that part of her, she started to move in that direction naturally. It didn't feel like willpower or force. It became easy to drive in the direction of who she wanted to be because she had a clear picture of what that was, what she felt like when she was standing in the power of the best version of herself. She awoke to the truth of who she is. So you all have caught glimpses of this very best version of yourself. It feels aligned, it feels connected to God, it feels connected to your spiritual gifts. It feels just like a natural flow. Maybe it feels, some describe it as their zone of genius. It feels like these are the gifts that I'm meant to share with the world. It feels natural to be this version of myself. Now, the problem is that we start to move in that direction of who we want to be and how we want to show up in our relationships and in our business and in the way that we interact in the world. And that's when all the noise sets in. All the noise, I call it the second voice. So the truth of who we are is this first voice that is so clear and so um, aligned. And when we start to take action on this first voice, coming into alignment with who we truly are, all the noise comes up, all the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, all the second voice that gets in the way and stops us from showing up as who we were designed to be. One of the best ways that I have to describe this is an experience that I had at a retreat. I often run retreats, and this was a way to visualize and experience the first voice and the second voice. So I had a group of 25 women, and I had one brave volunteer, and her job was to get from one side of the obstacle course to the other side of the obstacle course. And this obstacle course was just chairs that were set up in the middle of the room. And one of the the tricks or the things that were kind of making this a little bit more difficult was that she had to do this blindfolded. And the only way that she could navigate this obstacle course was by listening to the voice of a trusted guide that was at the opposite end of this obstacle course. Now, here's the catch. I had asked all 25 women to circle this obstacle course, and they had written down on a piece of paper one limiting belief, one belief that a negative voice in their head that they heard often. I'm never going to make it. I'm not doing it right. Who am I to do this? And I had them just write down that one message and repeat it loudly over and over and again. So there's 25 voices that were calling out all these negative messages. And I had my trusted volunteer, and on the opposite end, she had the voice of her guide. And her job was to move through this obstacle course blindfolded, listening to the voice of the guide through the noise of confusion, doubt, and overwhelm, all the negative voices that were coming at her. And as she started to walk, she started out confidently. She was tuned into the voice of her guide. She was listening. But as she started to get caught up in all the noise that was around her, she started to falter and she started to get a little more frustrated. She stepped a little more tentatively. Her footsteps were not as sure. And finally, she threw her hands up in frustration. She put her hands over her ears and she said, "I can't hear anything. I'm stuck." And the response in the room was electric because every woman in that room had felt that before. I don't know which way to go. I feel stuck. And how many of you have experienced that same feeling, whether in your business, if you're trying to create a business? Many of the clients I work with are entrepreneurs and they're trying to bring this important work that they feel called to into the world. For some of my clients, it's trying to have a better relationship with food in their body, and it feels like they just keep falling back into the same habits and patterns that they've always fallen back into. For some of my clients, it's that they want to be a better parent, a better mom, and stop yelling at their kids, and yet there's this tendency to just fall back into old patterns. And there's that laying down at night, that feeling of tomorrow I will be better. And that feeling of like, I know I'm meant for more. I know I have more potential and that there is more out there for me. Why is it that I keep getting stuck in all the noise? And so what this, the important part of awakening to the truth of who you are is that the only way to make it through that obstacle course is to turn the volume up on the first voice or the trusted guide and turn down the volume on all the noise. Now, the noise is still going to be there. It's not going to go away. But when we turn up the volume on the first voice, on the truth of who we are, on our trusted guide, we can move forward with more confidence and be able to hear what the next step is. When the voices of confusion, doubt, and overwhelm and fear get so loud, it drowns out this conviction of who we are. Now, why does it even matter? Why does it even matter that we turn up the volume on this first voice? Yes, we're moving through, but I want to give you a personal example of what this looks like for me. So I have been growing my own business for the last 13 years. And it has been the most powerful journey in personal growth and development that I've ever experienced. And it's not been easy. The way has not always been clear. There have been a lot of moments of confusion, doubt, and overwhelm. There's been a lot of fear that I have had to work through. And I can tell you the only thing that has kept me on this journey is that first voice. There have been so many times that I have wanted to walk away and just say, this is too hard. This is not something that I'm meant to do. There's too many obstacles. There's too many voices that are getting in the way. I'm done. And what has kept me in the game is that first voice. When you have a connection with that first voice, with the truth of who you are, with how you know you are meant to show up in this world, whether that's as a parent, a business owner, or in relationship with your own body, when you have a connection with that truth, when you have a picture of who you are designed to be, it moves you through any obstacle. It keeps you putting that one foot in front of the other, even when it's hard, even when it's not clear, even when it feels like I would rather throw in the towel. That connection to your first voice, that connection to the divine truth within you is the most powerful motivator you can ever have. It's more powerful than the next latest and greatest strategy, right? Like we want the best strategy. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. In I just remember when I was navigating my relationship with food in my body. It was just tell me what to do and I'll do it. When I was navigating how to grow my business, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I did have strategies. I knew exactly what I needed to do. But it wasn't until I tapped into the truth of who I was and what I was designed to do and who I am designed to be. That was the motivator that kept me moving. That was what kept me putting one foot in front of the other. I could have the strategy and not do a thing on it. I could know exactly what I was meant to do and not take action whatsoever. But when I had that conviction of this is who I am designed to be, this is the truth of who I am, that propelled me forward in a way that nothing else could. So if you want to move forward and take action on the goals that you have for yourself, growing a business that feels important to you, taking care of your body, putting yourself first for maybe the first time in your whole life, wondering what's next for you as your kids leave the nest, growing your relationship with your spouse. That change, that growth is uncomfortable. It's meant to be. It's going to feel confusing and overwhelming. And when you tap in to the truth of who you are, it will keep you moving forward. You will create what you want and move forward on your goals when you tap into the truth of who you are, turn the volume up on the first voice, and turn the volume down on the second voice, which is what we'll get into in future episodes. But for today, the most important thing you can do is turn the volume up on the truth of who you are, that first voice. So we're going to do that. At the end of every episode, I will have a meditation or an experience that I will take you through to help you embody the learning and bring it home. So at the end of this episode, there's going to be another episode that you can tap into and tune into. That way you have access to the meditation at any time. So I hope you'll join me, drop into the meditation, and I hope to see you there. Thanks all.